Greetings and welcome, or welcome back as the case may be. Today's Wednesday, so I'm going to talk a little bit on just general generic writing advice. I hope that's okay, coming from somebody who's yet to publish their first book. Yeah, but I've published a few short stories and I've written quite a few more. So I think I have, some advice I can give, some of the approaches. That said, today I want to talk about magic. A lot of you, if you're following me, probably write in the realms of science fiction or fantasy. And if it's fantasy, I'm certain magic comes up. So the particular part of magic that I want to make is that in making your system, you need to make magic have a price. It needs to cost something. It needs to have limits. What can it do? What can't it do? You need some of these things. Now, I got to admit, in my own story of Mortal.exe, I'm dealing with gods and goddesses. So what are the limits of my magic there? Well, there's not a lot, but there are some limits. The gods really only, and goddesses really only have complete control over their dominion, their domain. They can do a lot of stuff like create clothing, like transfer themselves to locations they want to be, and things like that. But outside of those generic ideas, because they don't have a true set form, they're limited to what their domain is. My goddess Mel is limited to electronics and computer programming. So, anything she does outside of that teleportation, outside of creating clothing for herself or her followers, is limited to, electricity and electrical effects and computer programming. So, and control of electronic gadgets, though that doesn't come up in this first book so much. So you need to set limits. What can your magic users do? I know a lot of us played D&D where the cost of magic was nothing. You wiggle your finger, your character wiggles his fingers, mutters some words, throws a piece of back guano, and spins a spell slot, and boom, magic happens. But in a book, magic shouldn't be that easy, unless that's kind of the point. If magic is just easy to the certain few, but then there's that cost. Why are they the few? Why are they so lucky? Why? You need to have these rules. Not that they should ever be stated in your story. If it's not important to the story, you need to be aware of these limits so that you don't overstep the bounds. And you need to apply these limits because that's part of what makes the story interesting. If magic is limitless, why isn't everything done by magic? And there are some stories where that is the case, where magic has taken the place of technology. But even there's a price. There's a limit to what it can do and what it can't do. So keep that in mind. Design your magic system with some limits, some rules as to how it works, why it works, and everything. And you need to write these down. It needs to be part of your world Bible. It needs to be part of what is going on behind the scenes. So again, you don't overstep. You don't create a plot hole because, wait, you said magic couldn't do this, and yet you now have done that. Again, I've seen stories where that was the point. The main character was the chosen one or some sort, and they were able to circumvent the rules. But that's a plot element in your story. Why are they able to circumvent the rules? Why can they push beyond? So, have your magic system, have rules, have a bite, have a cost. One of my favorite magic systems is by C.S. Friedman. And the cost of the magic is that it burns out your soul. The Magister Trilogy, recommend it highly. Also, the Coldfire Trilogy does something similar. So, recommend those series very highly. C.S. Friedman, great storyteller, great author. But on that note, I'm going to call this posting to a halt. Hope you have a great week. Hope you're having a great week. And we'll see you next time. If you liked it, give us a like. Give us a subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.